For today's cup of coffee with Scream.
Oh.
Disease and pestilence. That's the co-host.
Pestilence. Disease. Sniffles.
I don't know whether it's allergies or what is going on with this kid over here, because he has been unwell for a very long time. But I will tell you this. They frequently do the chemtrail thing across this area. Frequently.
Mm-hmm. But this feels more... This doesn't feel like allergies.
Okay.
It doesn't.
Feels more like cold and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Because colds are still a thing. They always were.
Mm-hmm.
But I made a huge pot of chicken and rice soup yesterday.
You did, and it's delicious.
And that's soup. Soup is one of the greatest creations of mankind. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you can have that for several days.
There's a variety of soups for all seasons.
Oh, yeah. Soups are great.
Anytime I think of soup, I think of Jenna Marbles, because that's all she wanted to eat was just soup. No matter hot day, she'll eat soup.
Well, there are some cold soups. There is a wonderful cold tomato soup that's called gazpacho.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really, if it's made well, it's great. You know, so and I think there's some like cold other summer soups that have like cucumber and more of those type things.
Okay.
But as cold weather sets in, you usually like it's comfort as far as warm things, warm foods, warm drinks, all that good stuff. And I don't know what the hell happened to me, and it's like I forgot my cup of coffee. It's in the other room. It'd be all right. It'd be all right.
Brain glitches.
That is exactly, and that's what it is. Instead of doing a shit ton of research on this one, it's just because I've done the shit ton of research on time. We didn't get any more views than we did when we just porch pondering. So we living room porch pondering about what's going on in our society right now. Because it deserves to be discussed.
It really does. I mean, there's a lot of madness going on.
Uh-huh. And there may be a lot of edits, because I'm going to try to cut out, God love him, the spasmodic coffee.
I'm trying to remember if I actually took
the golden seal.
Yeah, I really don't remember if I did or not.
Yeah, I don't know that vitamins and stuff. We do know that nutrition does play a role not only in physical health but mental health.
I didn't know we were recording already again.
Yes.
So shit.
God love him. So if we've got lots of edits, you'll know why.
Yeah.
And I am kidney stone free, by the way. Let's throw that out there.
Yeah, that's good.
Because why? I simply called down to the urologist, and I'm like, look, it's rainy. It's cold. Is there any reason that I need to come down there? Can I not just talk to her over the phone?
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, well, the nurse will call you back. And it's like, nothing on the CT scan. And I'm like, woohoo! Woo! We need a return to common sense and logic and sanity.
Because if you're just getting results, there is no reason to go into the office.
None. Especially this time of year where it's like a huge petri dish.
Yeah.
That and being around small children.
Mm-hmm.
But with the mental health crisis that we are seeing, and it's incredible. And for those of you who may or may not have, if you're over on X, you can see a variety of things, and you actually can choose some of the things that you see.
Mm-hmm. You can.
And because some of the stuff I don't.
Yeah.
It doesn't come on my feed for whatever reason, and I'm grateful. But the trend of the women to protest by shaving their head. And there's quite a few of us that have noticed the similarities between what they're doing and those that were part of the Charles Manson cult that he called the family.
Mm-hmm. There's a lady that is going through cancer right now, and she has no hair, and she's a liberal, and she's seeing all this stuff going on, and she's being like, guys, This ain't cool.
Right.
Because you're doing this, there are people who lose their hair due to cancer and stuff like that. This was very triggering for me. Please keep that in mind.
And guess what?
And it's like, that ain't going to happen. Because they don't give a fuck.
It's like this. The world is triggering.
Yes.
Everything. If you think that you can fly through life with everybody doing exactly what you want, exactly when you want, that is narcissism.
Mm-hmm.
That is small child brain, arrested development.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And a lot of these people are running on that right now.
Yeah. And it's kind of horrifying on some of this stuff. But there was a gentleman, his name, and I've talked about him before, and I will mispronounce his name again unintentionally. Gad Said.
Said.
And he is a psychologist, and I need to get a copy of this book. It's called The Parasitic Mind: How Infectious Ideas Are Killing Common Sense. Mm-hmm. And a kid and I were discussing about this, and it's like, there have always been pockets of hysteria, insanity, whatever. There's a reason they call it hysteria.
Yeah.
And that it usually affected women. And
which is crazy. And then that becomes like the feminist thing, you know, don't say hysteria. That's got negative connotations to it. And it's
but they're proving it to be true.
Yeah.
They're proving the stereotype. And they are undoing every little bit of progress that some of the... And as far as feminism, you say that and people get weird. It was just a matter of, don't sexually harass somebody in the workplace.
Yeah.
Don't put your hands on somebody if they don't want you to touch them. Mm-hmm. We're not talking about a hug. We're talking about true sexual assault.
Yes.
Some of us have lived through that stuff. And it ain't cool. Mm-mm. So back with the feminist movement, there were things that did need to be addressed. Not everything.
No, like it was to the point of overcorrection and to the point like nitpicking.
It was. And it's, but what these people are doing now, it's like, no. And it's like very much pro-responsibility.
Yes. Yes.
And there has been a total rejection of that. And I have seen some of the videos that these people, it's clout. It's wanting to be seen. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do this. And I'm thinking, yeah, you're going to do it. And you're going to have to live with the consequences of what you've done.
But also these people on there that are, you know, taking the time to set up a camera and then cry in front of it and then press, you know, stop recording.
Mm-hmm. And then edit it and do all this other stuff.
Yeah.
And they're not, again, that's frontal lobe lack of functioning. That if you go on there, you make a video. I don't understand how somebody can do that and put that out there for the world, and the internet is forever, when you're threatening people and you look like, what was her name from, that was the sea witch on The Little Mermaid? Was it Ursula?
Yeah, Ursula.
Yeah, it's not a good look.
Well, I mean, some people... I kind of thought Ursula was stunning. That was me.
No,
that was me. But these people do not even... like, Ursula is prettier than them.
No, when it's that type of face-threatening people, that ain't a good look.
Oh, no, it's not a good look. It's never a good look on anyone, you know, threatening others.
And with it is the same mentality. Now, let me go back to the Gad side before I get too ahead of myself. One of his quotes here, it says, social justice warriors and their ilk are intellectual terrorists, and they can wreak havoc on reason and our public life, limiting people's willingness to speak and think freely without ever constituting a majority. That's true. Mm-hmm. It's true. And it's interesting how the many can be cowed by the few.
Yeah. Which is, how does that make sense?
I think it's part of that herd mentality.
People are sheep.
Mm-hmm. But in the past, you had the limited pockets of insanity
You did.
It didn't spread from town to town. I mean, if you go up and look at the Salem witch trials and different things like that.
State to state.
You know, but with the internet, it's easier for those things to spread. Mm-hmm. And so we're going into territory that we've not experienced before.
Yeah.
Not on a level like this. And to have some of the people in other nations comment on this stuff, and it's like, because they're seeing more clearly what's going on than people here. Mm-hmm. But you've got a lot of people that are waking up to this and seeing it for the cult mentality that it is. But with Manson, it was rumored that he was part of MK Ultra.
Yeah, that is very much. There are people that believe it. I believe it.
I believe it because he was arrested many times.
Yeah, and he has talked about that shit before.
Always allowed to go back out. Mm-hmm. These people, they knew what they were doing. There was a specific clinic that they would go to because these people, if you're that promiscuous, guess what? You end up with diseases. They would go to this clinic. They would get medication to take care of whatever disease it was so they could go out and get it, whatever it was again. There was also the possibility that that clinic could have been supplying them with drugs. And that clinic could have been the MK Ultra headquarters for these people.
It could be, because some of those are just props. Uh-huh. Like they're living, well, not living, but standing psyops. Mm-hmm. Like you think that it's one place, but nah, you're getting gaslit. Mm-hmm. It's actually a secret underground government base or whatever.
It wasn't anything like that. It was just the fact that
smuggling
it was social engineering.
Yeah.
And all this goes back to Operation Paperclip and different things like that. And it's like, with these similarities to what we're seeing right now going on in real time, which is kind of horrifying. And these people probably have no idea that the Manson family did similar. Because the cult leader, as far as Manson, he was basically their god.
Which is disturbing, because why would you look at any human like that?
Because this is a spiritual condition. Because when you have somebody that has a brokenness somewhere, whether it's depression or whatever like that, it leaves them spiritually vulnerable. Mm-hmm. And this is what I've tried to explain to other people. And it's like, anytime that you've got somebody that feels marginalized, and it's not that they feel marginalized, they are marginalized. And we have a lot of people in society that are like that right now. And you will always have somebody that comes along that is this charismatic leader. And the lie that they say to these people is, come here, come to me. I will help fix you. You belong here. Jim Jones did the same thing. Any of these cult leaders, this is how they work over and over.
Yeah, yeah.
But as far as this is why it's important to have some place for people who don't feel like they belong, that is positive, that is not doing some kind of fucking brainwashing on them. And there were those of us that have seen this coming for years.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's been written on the wall since how long?
Oh, I don't know. Alex Jones has been talking about this, and I want Alex Jones to be vindicated. Alex Jones deserves to be vindicated.
He does. He does.
And it's like you get, and some people, when they start doing this, it's the dot connector, and I'm going to go down this rabbit hole, and they get to where they are so fucking neurotic and paranoid that they will not trust anybody, and that's not healthy.
No, they're literally screwing themselves into the ground.
That leaves them vulnerable.
Yeah. Yeah. That's some scary shit. They're literally screwing themselves into the ground to the point that they're vulnerable.
Mm-hmm. I have seen so many little factions over the past few years. It's just stunning. you've got this little group that's figured this out, and this one that's figured it out, and then that one, and this one, and that one, and it's this bunch, and that bunch, and that. Let me tell you something. It's the devil. Let's cut to the chase. It's forces of darkness. Doesn't matter how it manifests. That's exactly what it is. It's all a spiritual battle. Mm-hmm. And it's like, these people, when somebody is involved in a cult, and I can speak about this because guess what? I was there once. Not that long. I mean, I wasn't in it for that long.
Yeah.
But I understand how it happens. And it was God that brought me out. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But when you're there, you think that, you've got the answer. Everybody else is wrong. But you and your group, you have got the truth. And anybody that wants to say otherwise, they're ignorant, they're uneducated, they're whatever. The name calling. That's one of the keys as far as the name calling. Mm-hmm. It's like middle school. Well, you're a poopy head. Well, what are you?
Yeah.
And it's like you have a group of people, a large group of people that have been called everything.
Mm-hmm. Everything under the sun.
And that they have been very calm and very reserved because how they handle a lot of this stuff is through prayer. When these people come out of this, when you come out of a cult, there's a lot of shame. There's a lot of guilt. There's a lot of how the hell did I allow myself to be deceived into believing those things.
I mean, you have to be in a pretty vulnerable state.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And so some of these people are piteous.
Yeah. They're not all bad people. It's just they're in a bad situation.
They are in a bad situation. And this is where to see how this happened and to try to make provision for these people when the ones that do start waking up out of this.
Mm-hmm. Because they're going to be waking up.
And I don't care. I'm one of these. I don't give a shit which side somebody's on. If you're calling people names, you're in the wrong.
Yes. Yes.
And it's like when you've got 40 and 50-year-old man that's sitting there discussing as far as somebody's weight, grow the fuck up. It does not matter whether somebody or not is fuckable to you. Grow up.
Yep. It should not matter what somebody's physical appearance looks like. It's how their heart is. It's how their spirit is.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Now, some people, I will say, there are some people that do look ugly, and they are certainly ugly on the inside, too.
Uh-huh. We have seen during this period of time some of the ones that look, as the world says,
beautiful.
Are the most beautiful,
but
are some of the most horrible.
Yeah. They're some of the most heinous, hideous, evil people on the inside.
Right. And this fixation with people's weight. Not everybody can be tall, thin, blonde, whatever.
Well, what that stems from generations of personal insecurity, and then being told those insecurities by several abusive men, and it just carries on.
Right.
Because they pass that down to children.
They do.
To children.
They do.
It's not right.
And
at one point, someone being overweight, what is considered overweight now, that was considered a goal. That was considered, you were wealthy, you were healthy, you could afford to relax and eat.
Yeah. It was the elite that were the only ones that could be obese.
Yeah.
And it's like Bobby Kennedy, is one of the few that I have heard that he has a logical reason. He's like, these people are poisoned.
Yes.
No shit.
And that's what causes it a lot of the time. People are poisoned.
But it's, again, it is that cult-like mentality where people have that way of thought.
That's like with the flat earthers, when you show them actual tangible evidence, they'll just
it. They still reject it because there is that And that is the negative part of ego. That sense of self and that narcissism. And everybody has a touch of it. Ego is simply a sense of self. And it's like you've got all these communities, and I'm like, I don't think y'all using that word, but I don't know that you know what that means. That's a Freudian thing.
That's like with the ego deaths.
An ego, yeah. And
let me tell you, if you're having an ego death, you have lost yourself then.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And we can tell you, having lived with somebody that has dissociative identity disorder, it is not good when you lose yourself.
No. God love them.
You've got a lot of people talking out of their ass.
You do.
You've got a lot of people searching for answers.
I'm sorry, I sniffed right in the middle of that.
And that they'll listen to almost anyone. And that you can have people that speak with authority. Just because somebody speaks with authority, that can be taught. Mm-hmm. That's a skill that's very easily learned. And that people will assume they know what they're talking about. Assume nothing. And that's what we've always told people about what we're saying. Don't assume. Would I deceive anybody intentionally? No. Am I prone to error? Hell yes, because I am Podling Pirate Captain.
But then in saying that sort of puts people back into that, like, oh, believe nothing and nobody.
No, it's a matter of study and make yourself approved.
It's called having discernment.
Yeah. But it's like anybody can make a mistake. But some of these things, this stuff that has been done to society, there was no mistake.
No, it was all intentional.
Because whatever form the devil wants to use, the forces of darkness, we say devil around here because it's easier.
Yeah.
That the purpose is to steal, kill, and destroy. Mm-hmm. That's it. Bottom line.
Yeah.
Now, that can take a lot of different forms. But if you got somebody that's doing this shit, oh, let's pile on the rabbit, or don't pile on the rabbit, step back for a minute and think for yourself. Do you want to align yourself with that?
Yeah. You really do got to think about that.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, these people are actually detrimental to my mental health, and I feel more stressed out and more agitated when I'm around them. Mm-hmm. So let me figure out something that's better for me. Let me find some better people that are, actual people.
Right. Well, one of the main things that cults do, they use that love bombing. They truly do the love bombing, and then little by little by little, they start to erode back away. And it's almost like Stockholm Syndrome. And that is a phrase that has been used a lot because it's true. And that's where people are mentally fucked to where they love their captors and their captivity. We've seen that occur with some of these dictators.
It's brainwashing.
It is brainwashing. It is definitely brainwashing.
And that ain't cool.
No.
You're literally programming someone against their will.
Yeah. It's witchcraft.
Yeah.
It is black magic.
So it's like some of these people, it's like, can you really blame them if they are fully programmed or whatever?
No, I'm not blaming them. I'm not. It's piteous.
No, I'm not accusing you of it. I'm asking a question.
No, I understand. And it's like, but also you've got to realize with Manson's family, what did they do? He told them to go out and do some horrible, heinous things, and they did.
Yeah.
That has been true of lots of dictators, too. And we sit and we wonder, how could a nation get behind some of these people, and it's like nobody talks about as far as, I don't remember what the dude's name was in Japan right now, but Mussolini and Stalin and Lenin and some of these things like that. First off, they start telling people what they think they want to hear.
Yes, they lie to them, but they also do witchcraft behind the scenes, a lot of them.
Yeah.
Like black magic.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's like they are controlling people through that, also through stuff like MK Ultra.
Well, we were talking about radio and TV and different things like that.
Yeah.
And it's hiding in plain sight.
Yes, it's everywhere. Music.
They call it programming for a reason. Yeah. They're telling you the truth.
They're what?
They're telling people the truth. As far as programming.
Yeah. Yeah.
We trying to wake people up.
Trying.
But yeah, pray for these people. But this is incredible to
It's
observe.
a mad world.
Yeah, don't get caught up in the madness. Think for yourself.
Yeah.
And pray for a poor little kid. God love it. So just, yeah.
Prayers. I got the suds.
He does have the suds. He's got the suds. I've got some ginger in there, and so makes him.
Does Benadryl help?
A little bit, but I think that just do the homeopathics and different things. Garlics. I could give you a clove of garlic to hold in your mouth. That's usually for sore throat, though.
Yeah, and I'm not experiencing that today.
Right.
So
yours is mainly sinus drainage and stuff.
Sinus
like
and
that.
coughing and aching.
Yeah. God love him. And more solar flares and all that.
In
Everybody's having paranormal and supernatural experience. Everybody.
That's the thing. When the sick hits, also be aware of keep your spiritually protected while you are sick as well, because you are more susceptible when you are sick.
That's true. Mind, body, and spirit. If you've got one that's not totally imbalanced, then it's going to cause problems with the others.
Yeah.
A lot of times mine, it's like I'll be just ill before any kind of physical symptom, and then it's just like, oh, okay, that's what was coming on.
Yeah. And then as you're having, for me, it's like also when I'm having the physical symptoms, I get irritable, very irritable.
Sure.
I have a very shorter fuse than I usually do. It's like today I was certainly cussing on the way to the trash dump and on the way back.
Well, that was because I forgot that it was holiday today, and you made a useless trip, and that was not intentional at all.
But I was also cussing because I was feeling bad, and my phone wasn't fucking charging.
Yeah. Well, and it does make people irritable, and that's where when somebody is unwell, you give them a little extra grace.
Because it's like when they're sick, that's not who they actually are. That's just symptoms of it.
It is. And that's one of the things with this. What we're seeing is symptoms of a deeper spiritual sickness with people.
Yeah. And it's like all of them just need prayers.
They do need prayers. But also situational awareness all the time.
Yeah.
You want to tell them where we can be found?
We can be found on BitChute, Rumble, and YouTube at Rolanda's Cup of Coffee with Scream. Also check her out on X, previously known as Twitter, Rolanda, COCWS.
I'm actually quite active over there, and I post some cool stuff.
You do. You really do.
So, know that you are loved. Treat other people the way that you would like to be treated.
Yes.
But do not do the toxic empathy thing.
Like, you have to have boundaries. You
have to have
really
discernment.
do. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like if somebody, as far as repentance, if they, just because they say, oh, sorry, that is not repentance. It is not that rendering of their heart where they truly understand that they have harmed other people. So just be aware of that. Prayers for everybody, prayers for each other, prayers for us. Always, please.
Yep.
And Lord willing, we'll see you on the next go.
Yep.
Bye.